listening to Newcastle in the Morning.
Only on Newcastle Live Radio.
You are on Newcastle Live Radio with Tracy Mack. How are you going out there? How did those 633 cases make you feel this morning? It was quite sobering, wasn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. Joining me now from Canberra, where, of course, it is also in lockdown, is Senator Holly Hughes. Good morning and thanks for your time this morning, Holly.
Good morning, Tracy.
How are you going in lockdown at the moment? I know one of your colleagues, her young daughter has tested positive for COVID, and she's dealing with that at the moment. How is it down there in Canberra?
Look, it's like it is in Sydney. It's very, very quiet, and sort of everyone is trying to get their hour exercise a day, which I think is absolutely critical. A friend of mine made me go for a walk yesterday around the freezing lake, but I must say I felt incredibly. Well, a lot better after I had done that, but Canberrans are pretty big on rules. They like a bit of compliance down here. They're wearing their masks outside. People are staying home, so I'm hopeful that Canberra will get on top of it pretty quickly, but it's the same as everywhere. Everyone's in the same boat at the moment.
It is quite a concern, the number of younger children that are falling susceptible to this virus. Do you know where we're up to with the testing for vaccinations for children under the age of 16?
Look, it's all going through the ATAGI process, so it has to keep going through that. So we haven't been given any update or timeline or heard anything when that's going to happen, but obviously at this point in time everyone's hoping it'll be sooner rather than later. We can get kids with a disability or immunocompromised vaccinated from 12 now, so hopefully that could may need to open up potentially to all kids from that age.
Your children, you've got a young son with a disability. Are you able to get him vaccinated?
So I spoke to his dad the other day to have a chat to the GP and see what we can do, because yes, he does fall into the criteria, but I have been working with other families with kids with a disability whom more immune compromised and have other respiratory issues that would obviously be more problematic. But we're still seeing, and it's disappointing, that not all GPs are obviously updating their own information. They're not staying on top of what recommendations are. I spoke to one poor dad who had been to a number of his son's doctors and specialists that were resisting giving it to him for his son, which was against the advice, but they were clinging to old advice. So I think it is important that people that know that they're entitled to it get onto it, but also that it's important that the people that are administering it are staying on top of who's eligible and when they can have it, because we're just hearing the stories too often of GPs refusing to give it when the ATAGI advice is that it's absolutely acceptable and what they should be doing.
And look, the best way that we can protect our young people is by getting vaccinated ourselves. That's the key.
Yep.
If we get vaccinated ourselves, that makes life a little bit easier.
Holly, and look, I heard a story yesterday of a woman who was like, "I'm not getting it done. It doesn't affect me. I don't care. I'm not getting it done." And so her adult children turned around and said, "Well, you're not seeing your grandchildren until you are."
That's good. We need more families like that.
So I think there's ways that we can sort of encourage people that are not quite getting the gravity and the requirement for all of us to be on board with this.
Now, Holly, some of the scenes that are coming out of Afghanistan at the moment are just horrific. They are horrifying. Can you give us an update on where the federal government is up to with evacuating those Australians and those interpreters and the people who have worked for us for all of those years? Where are we up to with the evacuations?
Well, you're right. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It's just, beyond words what's happened over there, and the speed with which it's occurred, I think has just been one of the most shocking elements to it. There was a plane that left this morning, so I'm not sure how many people were on that, but that was certainly an evacuation, a plane this morning that went to our AMAB base, which is just outside of Dubai. It's consistently and continually being worked on. As you can imagine and appreciate, we're not going to be advertising when planes are going.
Of course not.
So that work is ongoing. We are aware there are Australian citizens, there are Australian visa holders that are there, as well as others that want to get out of the country. So, everyone's working as hard as they can to do what they can, but the scenes at Kabul airport were just absolutely heartbreaking.
They were just horrible. And, there's been reports this morning that there's American planes taking off with, they believe they can evacuate 5,000 people a day. They've also offered their services to Australia. Would we be taking up that offer to help get our people out?
I have no idea. That is above my pay grade, Tracy. I can tell you, I'm not privy to those conversations, but they were our allies, and we went there in support of the US. So I'm sure that's part of the continuing and ongoing discussions. I spoke to a lady here in Canberra last night who's working with a group around Afghani women who were particularly active previously and are now obviously at what they perceive to be considerable risk. But one of the things we had to talk about last night that I found very strange and disturbing was those photos that we saw of people on the planes. They were all men.
Yeah, I know.
And, that concerns me. Where are the women? Where are they? How are they getting them out? We know it's women and girls and young boys who have particularly bad experiences in the past under the Taliban, and I just didn't see any women on those planes. So I think it's something everyone's looking at and really concerned about. And
in particular, those scenes at Kabul airport, they were all men as well. There was no women trying to escape.
No.
So where are they all?
Well, and that was my question to her last night when I spoke to her. I said, where are they?
Too scared to go out.
Well, and I think this could be, part of the problem. There was an amazing interview with the Education Minister of Afghanistan, who's a woman. And, she was basically resigned to Taliban, killing her. The interview was just incredible. And she is just the definition of bravery, this woman.
We need to do something, and we need to, as an Australian community, really come together and try and do whatever we can, because it is just horrifying. We can't see another generation of women be oppressed by the Taliban like they were previously. It's as women and as women who have been able to do what we want here in Australia. It is something that I cannot comprehend.
No, I know, and I think that's how a lot of people feel. I've been talking to friends of mine who have served over there. And they're just heartbroken, and it feels like it's not a big enough word.
It really, you're absolutely right. Jamie Abbott, who is well known to the people here in the Hunter, I spoke offline to Jamie yesterday. She's not in a state to talk publicly, but she is just devastated. She spent she spent a long time over in Afghanistan, and she's just heartbroken this morning.
Well, I was over at AMAB last year, just out of Dubai, when COVID broke out. So every time we got back onto base, we'd get online and find people fighting over toilet paper in the supermarket. And we're like, what is going on at home? But we were unable to get into Afghanistan, which is where we were supposed to be going, because that was when the US were announcing their withdrawal, and it was all very, very sudden. So any of those trips in were ceased. But, I've got a friend who came back in March. And, they're just beside themselves. And all the men and women that were at AMAT that then travelled over to Afghanistan and our other theatres over there, it's just heartbreaking.
Well, my dear, please keep your ear and your voice to the Prime Minister's ear, and let's really do something about this, because it's vitally important to so many of us. Whether you had an interest in Afghanistan or not, this is a humanitarian issue now, and we just all need to have our voices heard. Now, the reason why I'm also talking to you today is that the government has made a significant investment into business broadband in Paterson and the Hunter. Now, Paterson has been known for so long for the lack of mobile phone coverage, for issues with broadband, and the government's done something about that.
Yeah, so we've put in sort of fibre zones, so business fibre zones. So it's really going to help a lot of businesses in that Cessnock, Singleton and Lake Macquarie area. And we know, in this sort of modern world, if you can't communicate online, it's very much left behind. So this is going to allow those businesses access to incredibly fast speeds to ensure that, whatever opportunities arise or weren't previously available to them should be going forward.
Has the pandemic brought this this support forward, the need for it?
Look, these 3 zones are part of 44 that have been announced across Australia, and something that's been, consistently working on. But I do think, in this current climate, in this current world that we're living in, it's particularly important that we see businesses able to move to an online presence if they need to. If we look at our retail businesses that people just can't go in the door, having that ability to go online may be the difference between surviving or not. So it's been an ongoing investment. It's been something that's been consistently worked on regardless of, everything else that's been going on. But I think it is incredibly pertinent at the moment.
Without a doubt, and especially when we're talking of speeds of up to 1 gigabyte per second, that's standard for some of us around here, but it's not standard for those, as you said, in the areas of Cessnock and Singleton and areas in Patterson. It's really not it's not where the rest of us have been. So it is really positive news for the businesses up there.
Yeah, and it's when you can't get online is when you notice it. You sort of take it for granted sometimes when you live in an area with good access. And then when you get somewhere and you can't get a signal or, can't get something to download within 5-10 minutes, it's just, it seems impossible. So it's great that these communities that have had problems with their access, that's going to be addressed and those businesses can hopefully grow.
Do we know, has it already rolled out, or is it rolling out over the next couple of weeks? What's the actual operational side of things?
Oh, look, it's continuing to roll out as it's going. So I'm not a technical person, so I am not going to pretend here that I know what some of the technical side of this is, but it's about the investment. We know that if we can get these businesses up and running across the country, we can look at boosting about $7 billion to the economy. So it's making sure that happens, and as soon as people can access them, there'll be the NBN plans. They're looking at reducing them by about 60% as well for those wholesale customers. So it's once it is effectively rolled out across the board, and I understand there's like physical components to it. Again, you and I, so technical.
No idea.
Yeah. But yeah, once those plans, once that physical stuff's there, that they'll be able to roll it out and then give people access to cheaper plans as well, which will contribute to the businesses using it quickly and properly.
It'll make a huge difference. Now, if you are in those areas, if you go to nbnco.com.au, go to corporate information, and if you work your way through it is the Business Fibre Initiative, and no doubt you'll be able to put your details in there, find out where it's up to and how soon you can or can't get access to that fibre. Holly, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and
you're very welcome.
Keep up the good work, won't you, down there?
Oh, just, it'll be nice for everyone when this is over, but the only way that's going to happen is getting vaccinated. So I can't repeat it often enough. Get out there, get your jab. The pharmacy rollout is going great guns. So if you've got anyone hasn't got it, doesn't have a doctor's appointment, check out your local pharmacy, because I know they are doing incredibly well rolling it out. Without
doubt. I was at Pigott's Pharmacy yesterday, and they had people in there getting their jab. So absolutely, if I know for a fact that Pigott's are online doing it. So get out there and get it. And I think what some of them are doing as well is actually just walk-in, so it's not appointment-based. So they're not having that situation where people are cancelling or not turning up for appointments, so things are missed. It's kind of just turn up and get it. So absolutely. You sound exhausted.
I'm okay. No, I'm actually okay. A couple of my staff are quite flat today, so I'm just I'm actually just a bit worried about them. And it's hard to be up. This Afghanistan situation is not good. 630. We feel it the same as everyone else does. I'm having to prep my kids that I might be here until December. So it's really uncertain times for everyone.
It really is, absolutely.
And everyone is, feeling it. And I appreciate that. Everyone's having tough times at the moment. So, banding together is important.
It absolutely is. Look, as I said, you stay safe in Canberra and keep yourself up, keep your chin up, and we'll chat with you very soon.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you. That is Senator Holly Hughes, the patron senator for the Hunter. And that is a great announcement that the broadband has gone in to help 2,347 businesses in Paterson and 9,061 businesses in the electorate of the Hunter. That is great news. So if you're having issues with your internet, make sure you get on to NBN Co and see what you can do.
Forget the kids.